Hey Jeff,
Hey, good evening.
good evening. Thanks a lot for making time to talk to me today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Tell me about yourself because we've never really talked, and I've never really met folks outside of Ted and Nate. How long have you
Yeah,
been in this business?
I've been in the industry for going on 16 years.
Wow.
So, seems like yesterday, but 16 years. Went to school for engineering,
Gotcha.
mechanical, electrical engineering, and just got in the field by working in a warehouse during the
Yeah,
summer months,
right on.
and doing new construction.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school at University of Evansville.
Oh, right on. Okay. I went to grad school at Michigan Tech um,
Okay,
before I
awesome.
moved to Canada for engineering as well.
Yeah,
And how did you run into these guys, the HVAC 2.0 guys?
I've been just kind of following Nate. I've
Yeah.
seen Nate's things from 2018. I
Yeah.
think is the first time that I ran across some of his stuff. I saw his book and stuff, and just joined the Facebook group and listened in, and just started talking to more people.
Did you find him on Facebook first, or did you just see him out in the field?
No, with Nate, it was on Facebook, and then I saw some information about his chapters and stuff, and was just curious and dug a little deeper and read it and enjoyed it.
And so you've been with HVAC 2.0 now for like, how long has it been?
Since we've officially joined, it's been 6 months. Well, not that long. I'd say 4 months or so, 4 or 5 months.
Gotcha.
Um, but as in Facebook groups and stuff, it's been since 2017, 2018.
So what was it like to, because you said you've been in business for about 16, 18 years. What was it like um, before HVAC 2.0?
Before it was constantly running into problems and trying to just overcome what we've installed and having to fix it or pull it out and replace it.
Right.
Um, not really given, we were taking all the responsibility and all the ownership to the homeowner's problems.
Oh, and so they would just call you and say, it's not as comfortable as I thought it was going to be, and you had to go back for a service call?
Yeah, utility consumption, higher energy,
Yeah.
comfort, noise, all of those things. So, and then we would have to figure out how to resolve them, and most of the time it was at our cost.
Oh, and how long were you servicing houses after you're done the job? Like a year, 2 years later, or
Servicing and how do you mean?
as in like would they call you like a couple of months after, or would it be like a couple of years there after they'd call you and say, "Hey, something's broken"?
It would range from multiple service visits before myself would get out there to figure out what was actually happening or fixing it and coming up with how to fix it.
Gotcha.
Um, but I mean, it would be months to several years
Right.
after a system was installed. But it's a lot of service visits before I would get out and get involved.
Yeah, because and then at this point, it sounds like to me you might be spending a lot of time in sort of patching up old jobs and not enough time on getting the new jobs. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of like cleanup man, cleanup crew is what it felt like. So it's
Uh,
still what it feels like.
right. And so, how does HVAC 2.0 help you sort of deal with those problems?
Well, we're slowly trying to turn the ship to get homeowners to accept their responsibility and let them own it so we can educate them and let them make that decision. So it's helping slowly turn the ship. It's hard with a large organization.
So, how many guys or girls do you work with?
Just locally, we have um, 65 to 70 technicians,
Wow.
service technicians, just in Indianapolis. We're over 250 employees between our three companies right now.
Gotcha. Wow. No, that's a process. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Are you are
Yep.
you are you are you like on the forefront of this in your company and trying to get other folks to go along with you, or do you have support like up and down the chain with trying to getting these into the company?
I didn't have support at first, so it was kind of just me, one man show trying to educate. So
Right on.
just put out that video and stuff and did that to all of our technicians and sends it out to our ownership and everything.
That's it.
That we just posted and stuff, but slowly getting everybody to realize and learn, trying to get them caught up on the process to help implement the process.
Gotcha. And so I know it's early days yet because you said it's been like 4 months and you spent some time steering the ship in a different direction. But what would you say you were able to achieve since you started HVAC 2.0? Like, what is the biggest hit spin?
The biggest thing that I've achieved that is really just getting homeowners to be accountable, and then allowing to go in and actually fix issues and fix problems with people's homes. Once you get them to take on that responsibility and ownership of their home, I know it's a crazy concept to think about. Once we actually get them to have that accountability and ownership, they want, most people that we find out want to make it right. And if not right now, they'll want to make it right in months, or they'll call you back 2.5, 3 years later. Right. And I have dealt with those, which is nice to see it come full circle.
Oh yeah. And I think a lot of maybe people who are not technicians probably don't think about this often enough, but replacing like an HVAC system is a system of systems, right? It's not like you just take a light bulb out and put a new one in. You'll have to, it's as a homeowner, the HVAC system goes into a network of different systems you've got going on, and human behavior plays a big factor in all of these things. And so I can see how difficult it is when you go into a job, you're replacing a small part of a bigger system with the owner not taking any responsibility for any of that, and they keep calling you back and stuff. So I can see that being extremely challenging. And so with in the past 4 months, have you had conversations with the homeowners where so what has been the biggest challenge in like talking to homeowners and really getting this through to them?
The biggest challenge is because of my role versus a full sales role, because obviously it's a sales process, is I'm kind of in between. I'm in between the trying to clean up things as the cleanup crew, and then also trying to stop it by getting me maybe in front of a homeowner before we actually have a sales guy to give them that option of here's your two paths. So I think once we get our technicians caught up and to understand where that homeowner needs to go, either A path or B path, A path being that free quote, and making them realize and understand it's a like for like, again, and taking that responsibility, versus a B path of, hey, these people really want to look at what's going on, look at the whole picture. So I think once we educate the homeowner, or once we educate people, they get to make that right decision for them.
Fair enough. And as you know, I want to turn the clock back like a year ago when you're starting to see some of these problems with the jobs that you're doing, and you always feel like you're the cleanup guy going in after months and years. When you looked around before you saw HVAC 2.0, it's likely that there were probably other sort of sales systems or sales programs. I was listening to this podcast, I think it's called HVAC Success Stories, where they talk about like a sales process and stuff. So what in your mind sets apart HVAC 2.0 from many of the other sales systems or service systems? Like what really sets HVAC 2.0 apart from other things you've seen out in the field?
Not over promising and under delivering, I think would probably be the biggest thing. Because again, with a lot of those sales process and stuff, if you're dealing with sales guys, is obviously it's all about making the sale. Right. It's all about that close rate. So a lot of those sales process that you hear about, they're always pushing that close rate. It's not necessarily what's right for the client. Unfortunately, our industry, and probably many industries, look at it that way. It's all about that dollar. However, if you educate, the money follows that. So that's been what I've learned from this process, and putting that education responsibility on the homeowner, is that it comes from that.
And so when you share responsibility with the homeowner, then it seems like to me, like what you're suggesting is that the close rates will even be higher because you won't have, kind of going back and forth. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. Yep.
Awesome.
It's higher, and then you get better results, which of course equals better referrals, and and just that full circle.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like a positive feedback loop, right?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So if you had to talk to yourself in the past, right, or someone like in your position who's out there, doing these jobs and doing these sort of, like you said, cleanup jobs, or if there's someone who is considering HVAC 2.0, who's like teetering on the precipice of HVAC 2.0, about to take the step, what advice would you give them?
The process works. The TPIS, the process is sacred. I mean, it really is. If you follow it and you do what really what we should be doing anyways,
Right.
that the success just comes right behind it. Before it was come in after and do two things: either rip out a system and do it for free,
Mm-hmm.
or downsize it, upsize it, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
or and again, you're still kind of guessing without testing and stuff. So
Gotcha.
even at that point, you're just trying to cover up whatever mistake the sales guy
Right.
may have made to just fix it with either ductwork or other modifications to the home.
Gotcha. And so you as a technical guy, do you in organizations, is there any incentive for you to learn how to do sales, or is this something you're doing out of your own interest because you want to get better at what you're doing?
Doing it out of my own interest, but also I'm okay with sales.
Yeah.
I think we sell ourselves every day.
Mm-hmm.
Our knowledge, our attitude, whatever's going into it, you got to be confident enough in doing that. So I think we all sell. I don't care how you look at it. We all have that hat.
Awesome. That's all the questions I had, Jeff. Is there anything else you'd like us to know, like me to know? Any last thoughts on this?
Now, the more people that that do consider it should,
Yeah.
And it's all about making our industry better. It's all about moving forward. It's all about progress, both with what Nate's doing on electrification and everything else. It's all for the better, and that education that we can get from each other and gain from each other, I mean, is inspirational.
Man, that's amazing to hear because I'll give you just a very quick background about myself. Like I used to, and I still do work in the policy world, right? So here in Canada, I work with cities across the country to develop like local energy plans. They call them. I don't know if they have them much in the States. They didn't when I left, but they here in Canada, every city has a 2050 climate goal or energy goal, and so I've been the biggest challenges that cities are facing now is how do they attract and develop an HVAC workforce. And the way that they often think about HVAC systems is they think about it in my view, very crude terms. They think, oh, all we need to do is provide some incentives for homeowners. And then once you give them an incentive, people start. But whereas I've been around Nate and Ted long enough to know, and I've been on the forums for like 2 years now, listening and hearing to know that it's not that simple. It's not just a money problem. It doesn't seem like it's an incentive problem. And what gives me a lot of heart, makes me really, what I love about what you said and what I've also heard from other HVAC contractors is you guys always talk about moving the industry forward, not I want to make more sales, not I want to increase my closing rates, which is a part of it, no doubt. But like the big call to action is that our industry needs to be better prepared for the opportunities that are coming down the pike. And all of that stuff is missing. I think when governments and cities and stuff look at HVAC contractors, they see them in a different light. And what I'm hoping to do, the reason I've been spending time working with Ted and Nate on this stuff is I'm hoping that cities in Canada and other places will start seeing how important HVAC contractors are in this whole thing and how we won't get anywhere without bringing them on site. And that's the reason why I've gotten involved with all this. So, just so you know.
Yeah, which is awesome, because I mean that's that's really it. I mean, yes, you're going to have your sales guys that are only worried about one thing. It's their pocketbook, but let me sell, let me get in, let me get out.
Yeah.
But I think there are quite a few people that do care enough to, again, in what they're doing and moving the industry forward.
Gotcha.
And a lot of the guys in the group, a lot of the guys and gals in the group are, like I said, they're an inspiration of what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they're approaching it. So it's just a great group to be a part of.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. Are you going to Florida this year or?
Not this year, nope. With everything going on and stuff, so
Yeah.
I'll be there virtually. So I bought tickets to listen and everything.
Me too.